Joe Biden has not been around the last few weeks. He has not been very visible. We saw him reading bedtime stories, but the tail end of his presidency has been relatively incognito.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the only thing we've really heard from him in the last several weeks is the pardon of his son, which obviously was very unpopular and has created a lot of backlash amongst even his own party. And so, he's leaving his presidency where it feels like he's not even on the playing field, and it's a very sad thing to watch.
So what happens now? You're part of the Democrat machine. What happens next? This is a real time to go to the rumour mirrors, take a look and regroup. Of course, 2 years will be pivotal, 4 years even more so.
Absolutely. I mean, there's going to have to be a real deep dive and introspection into what happened in the last election. We really lost our entire coalition to Donald Trump and the Republican Party. And now there's a massive power vacuum where we're trying to figure out which wing of the party is going to step in and fill it. And so now they're going to have to decide who takes over the Democratic National Committee, what the agenda is going to be from the top down. And I think we're going to have to think long and hard about who our leadership is going to be and what candidates we want to put forward and how we reconnect with the American people that so wildly rebuked us in this last election. And so, it's going to be very interesting to watch, but we're not in power in the White House, the Supreme Court, or in either houses of Congress. And so we've got to really just start over from the beginning.
Yeah, very much so. Now, just looking at a couple of other issues, the House Ethics Committee deciding to release Matt Gaetz' findings.
Yes, I think that ultimately at the end of the day, while Republicans would have loved to sweep that under the rug, and there was obviously a lot of gamesmanship with Matt Gaetz and Donald Trump in trying to prevent that report from coming out, that I think the Republicans decided that they just want to get this monkey off their back. It's not something they want to have to continue to debate going into next year. Matt Gaetz is no longer a member of Congress. And so I think, they'll put it out in the next week or two, right around the holidays when people are paying less attention, and then hope that they can just blow by it and move on.
What's the latest with Peter Hesketh?
He is still, they're very dicey is the answer. It's unclear. Obviously, we saw one cabinet member, Matt Gaetz, go down in terms of nomination. And now the question is what's going to happen with Secretary of Defense and also Bobby Kennedy. And so those are the ones that people are sort of watching. And again, I think it's going to be a lot of uncertainty and a lot of questions from Donald Trump. Do you want to stick it out with these people who have massive public relations problem that are going to continue to divert from your own agenda? Or do you want to just cut and run? And so I think we'll get a lot more clarity on that over the next couple of weeks, going into his inauguration. But it's really very much up in the air.
Finally, the inauguration, as we say, is just a few weeks away. Security is going to be pivotal. We saw those assassination attempts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that after not one, but two attempts on Donald Trump's life, I think that inauguration is going to look very different than it has in the past, although we have taken extraordinary security precautions, particularly when President Obama was first elected. But so, yes, I think you're going to see very tight security for the inauguration, but Donald Trump's going to want a massive crowd, and I think you're going to get a massive crowd. There's no two ways around that.
Absolutely. Melissa, have a lovely festive season. Thanks for coming on the show. We'll talk to you real soon.
You too. Thanks for having me.